We do have a culture here, and it's both good and bad. It's Alaskan.
Alaska is so rugged, and there are some places that are so remote. You really need to think, if something bad happens, how am I going to get help?
Alaskans boat more than any other state out there. It's not necessarily a problem, it's just a challenge because it's what we do.
I think we use boats so often in our daily routine. The excuse is, oh, I floated this river 100 times. Oh, I've been on this lake 100 times. It's not going to happen to me. And you know what? It could happen.
It was the 2010-2011 school year. I was going to Kenai Central High School. Grades were good, things were good.
It was just a regular school year, dealing with friends and homework. It was just pretty normal. My relationship with my mom was a bit rocky, and with my dad, I was really close to him. And me and my sister were just like siblings. We fought still, but we got along reasonably well. We would go out once or twice a summer, usually like Memorial Day weekend, and we'd do a big family trip. And we'd go boating and swimming, and we'd shoot guns and all the regular camping stuff.
Really fun. We go up there every single year since I was like 2. So there's lots of good memories up there.
Everything that I look at, everything I read, there's just a preponderance of evidence that shows that if people were wearing life jackets, they could survive. It's the fact that they provide an airway, that they help you with breathing, that matters. If you don't have your airway clear, that's when people drown. A lot of people in Alaska, a lot of communities in Alaska are familiar with somebody that drowned. They don't come out and say it, but it's almost acceptable because of this rough state that we live in, and everybody believes that if you fall into cold water, if you're wearing a life jacket or not, you're not gonna make it. And that's just not true.
The whole challenge is to change perception. We do a lot of boating for fun and recreation, but some people, they depend on it for their whole lifestyle. So is there a boating culture in Alaska? Absolutely.
Our goal is to make sure that everybody has a safe, enjoyable time on the waterway.
I went up to Testamina Lake, which is about a 26-mile-long lake. It was my dad, my sister's friend Athena, me, and my friend Katerina. Before we even put the boat into the water, everybody had their life jackets on.
By the time we got into the water and everything loaded, it was about 8:30 or 9, and it took about half an hour to get up to the river mouth and then to the lake. And we went and shot straight for Caribou Island.
About 2/3 across the lake, it started picking up, and the swells came up really fast. I would say within like 10 to 15 minutes, it went from, little ruts, and then it was just gigantic, humongous swells.
We had so much water in the boat, and eventually my dad just said if the engine quits, we're screwed. The engine went silent, and we all looked at each other, and we just didn't really know what to do. And we were right in the middle of a 6-mile crossing across the lake. Then I just hear my dad yelling, "Jump."
Your feet go numb, your hands go numb, your muscles start to contract because they're trying to bring the heat back to your core.
I could feel my heart going really slow, and my heart started cramping up. Probably one of the scariest parts.
Regardless of how good you swim and how long you've been boating, this cold water has a physical effect on everyone. There are 3 distinct things that happen to you physically. When you fall into cold water, your physical response is cold shock, and so you gasp and you hyperventilate and you need to get your breathing under control. The second phase is cold incapacitation, where you lose sensation and function of your body, so you start to go numb and your muscles stop working as well. The third stage is immersion hypothermia. After about 30 minutes is when your core temperature starts to drop. So what do you do about it? Gordon Giesbrecht is a thermal physiologist, and he has come up with this term 1-10-1. The 1 is within the first minute, get your breathing under control. To focus your breathing and get yourself under control, count backwards from 5. Within 10 minutes, do things for self-rescue. Use communication and signaling devices like waterproof 2-way radios, a handheld VHF radio, a satellite phone, a personal locator beacon, mirrors, a whistle, a cell phone, and 1 hour of useful consciousness, so do things to focus on reducing body heat loss. That's when you really want to keep your movements to a minimum and just try to preserve that body heat. Doesn't matter how long you've been boating, doesn't matter how strong of a swimmer you are, it's cold water, it can kill you.
An hour and a half or 2 into swimming, Katerina had quit screaming. She wasn't moving very much. Her skin color had turned to a really eerie gray color. She didn't breathe, she didn't open her eyes. She was just already gone. After that, I didn't really know what to do. Everything was gonna be changed after that. My dad had gone into a complete delusional stage. He was so delirious, he was acting like a 5-year-old. He couldn't move, and he's probably in that state for about 25 minutes. And then he just all of a sudden straightened out.
So I think that's really hard. You have to prioritize and get where you need to go. You just have to think about yourself and people around you and what you're gonna do to get yourself safe again.
I also wanted to see my mom again, and I wanted to be able to go to college, and I just wasn't ready. It wasn't time. I was the first person to touch my feet to the ground.
Their target was Nurse's cabin, and so once they finally got to shore and they got themselves warmed up, they knew where they were going.
They were rescued 18 hours after they went in the water.
I've been swimming since I was little. I've been on the lake tons of times, but I probably wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have my life jacket on, because I would be more focused on trying to stay above water. I would have been more physically tired. I do it anyways because it's what's safe.
I can tell you from other boating survivors and how they talked about how much they depended on those life jackets, I would say their chances would have been a lot slimmer without it.
How many adults would have that mental fortitude to get to the beach after swimming for 4.5 hours, losing your dad and a friend. When I heard her say that, I'm just thinking, they are extraordinary young ladies. If everybody paid attention to what they did, I really do believe that we'd reduce fatalities by a huge amount. If they hadn't worn a life jacket, they wouldn't be here. But because they did, they're here. And it's as simple as that.